What is up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new, dudes, my name is Kendall, and today I'm giving you guys a really highly requested video because as of recently, I changed up my training split. Actually, not even that recent, a few months ago. And I actually trained full body 4 times a week, and I threw in 1 additional leg day. And I basically wanted to explain to you guys, 1, what the heck is a training split? And 2, how do you build one? Because a lot of people don't really know how to structure their training, and they also don't stay consistent with training because they don't have a structured or programmed training split. So with all that being said, let's hop into this and let's talk a little bit more about how to structure a training split and what the heck is a training split. So starting off with what is a training split, and it is literally just that. Split up your training, right? So how many days a week are you going to train? What are you going to train on those specific days? Arms and shoulders, back and shoulders, legs. How are you going to split up the body parts, or are you going to split up the body parts? And the reason that you want to focus in on this is because either you have a very specific goal, but one thing that a lot of people don't actually focus on is your lifestyle. And that is the #1 thing when it comes to a structured training split. So the reason you should have split up days with your training is so that you can stick to structure and you can do what's called progressive overload, which means over time you are sticking to a structured training split, not changing up your training every single time you walk into the gym with different machines on leg day and different modalities. You want to stick to something that is super structured so that you can focus on keeping that variable consistent and then slowly increasing intensity, increasing load, and adding more stress to your body so you can actually progress on that specific structured split. So that's out of the way. That is why we need a training split. And that is what a training split is. Now, the other question that most people have is, how do you build a training split? And I want you guys to think about it in this way. There are a certain amount of days that you want to consider how much you want to train, what you want to train on those days, and then you also need to consider your lifestyle, which I think is the one thing that a lot of people lack. So this year I actually split up my training into 4 full body days. And the reason that I did that is because I only wanted to get into the gym 4 days a week because I was focusing on jiu-jitsu. So you need to take all things into consideration. What does your life look like? How often do you work? Do you have kids? Do you have school? How often can you get in the gym? For how long? So what you need to do is first break down how many days can you get into the gym. Now, if you're only training 3 or 4 days a week, what I recommend is sticking to a full body training split where you focus only on compound movements. Compound movements are going to be the big movements: squats, deadlifts, bench, overhead press, things that basically recruit multiple muscle groups. And you guys can probably just go on Google and look up like what is a compound movement and give some examples. So I personally stick to a full body training split 4 times a week, and for accessory and for more of an aesthetics focus, I split up a 5th day and put in a glute focus day so I can grow my glutes a little more and focus on them. And that's just something I personally wanted to do, and it fits into my schedule. So if you're focusing on a 3 or 4 day split, I recommend full body so you can hit all parts of your body, increase your lean muscle mass, which eventually is going to help you lose body fat. Now in this video, I'm going to show you how to structure a full body training split, or at least a full body day of programming, so that I'm not going to explain that too much. But basically, if you're doing full body, I recommend sticking to all compound movements, getting in a lower body movement, a push movement, a pull movement, another lower body movement, and then maybe an accessory movement if you want to work on a certain aesthetic or you just want to work on that specific body part. And you guys will see how I program that throughout this video. And then next, what you want to do is consider maybe you have a 5 or 6 day training split and you want to actually split up specific body parts. So you can do like a chest and tricep day, you can do a back and shoulder day, you can do a leg day. But what I want you to focus on is, if you are training for more aesthetics, focus on a body part per maybe program and stick to that for 4 to 6 weeks. So if I was training a 5 or 6 day split, I would definitely train legs twice a week, and I would definitely train upper body twice a week, whether you split that into back and shoulders, you know, chest and triceps, and then an arm day. That's up to you. But basically, you just have to evaluate what you want to focus more on with aesthetics, but you want to have no muscle imbalances. So I do recommend hitting every single body part at least 1 day a week. So it really just depends on the frequency of how often you can get into the gym. And don't forget, guys, rest is really important for you to be able to grow, for you to be able to increase your metabolic rate by putting on muscle mass. So what I want you to consider is, if you are looking to build a training split, the #1 thing you need to consider is your lifestyle and how much time you can get in the gym. I overall always have recommended an aesthetic split with trading up different body parts, but now that I actually tried full body, I love it. It makes me feel like a badass. I focus on compound movements. It's the bread and butter. You don't have to do all that dumb Fitspo shit with like the kickbacks and all that. I built an awesome physique with just being able to do compound movements, and also I'm eating a crap ton of food because I've put on more muscle. So I also like resting. So that is why I stick to a full body training split. And now, with that all being said, a lot of you guys have wondered how I actually structure my full body days. And basically, like I said, it's a hinge movement, a push, a pull, another hinge, and then an accessory day. So you can actually just look up hinge movements, push movements, and pull movements, and basically create your own training split. And what I recommend is sticking to that for 4 to 6 weeks, each week making the goal to lift a little bit heavier. So with all that being said, let's hop into the video and I will show you guys how I structure my training split. What is up, guys? So we are here at Matrix Performance here in Allentown, and I'm about to show you guys how I structure my workout. So I introduced you guys to Tyler, who owns this sick, incredible gym, and introduced you guys to him, wow, a while back when I was home, I think in like August. And he is a trainer here in the Lehigh Valley. He's super good at what he does, and his place is literally insane. There's lots of modalities, lots of equipment, so we are going to go through a full body workout because that is generally how I train most of the time. He just took a scoop of the Sonic Cherry Limeade Ghost, so he's going to be lit. I also took a scoop of Burn, so we're going to be lit. So with all that being said, let's hop into the workout. I'm going to voice over this bad boy, give you guys as many tips as I can so that you guys can also hit a solid workout and understand why I do what I do. Alrighty, y'all, so after I warm up, one thing that I told you guys a little bit earlier is that I always love to start with a hinge movement. Basically, that means a hinge at the hips. So it's generally something like a deadlift, a squat, you know, something that's obviously targeting more of the lower body, a straddle lift. I actually let Tyler pick, and he went ahead and picked a lower body movement that was kind of a variation of a Bulgarian split squat. This modality itself is very hard to stabilize. So we went ahead and started with this, did acclimation sets with just the bar, working up to a working weight, which I'll explain to you guys a little bit more in my next exercise. But basically this is a unilateral movement that is targeting each of, you know, the legs on the lower body, and essentially it's a compound movement recruiting more than just your glutes, hamstrings, quads. It's going to engage your core. And of course, we're focusing on stability here. So the first movement that I always focus on is a compound movement that recruits multiple muscle groups and is mainly lower body focused. And this one was a tough one. With this barbell bench press, I always choose a pushing motion second, and it's always going to be a compound movement, guys. So basically, what I'm doing here is acclimating up, and I want to explain acclimation sets to you guys because they're very important. What they do is really help you see how much weight you can push for that day. So as you guys can see here, I'm on my third acclimation set. The first one was just the bar, then we had the bar plus 10 pounds on each side, then we had 25 pounds on each side, which became my first working set. Now, had I not, you know, gone with the bar, gone with the 10 pounds on each side, I might have been a little shaky in knowing how much I actually was going to be able to push that day. And I actually ended up even adding a 5 on top of the 25s and made that my second working set because I was feeling good. But had I not acclimated up, it's likely I wouldn't have known that I was able to push that much weight. And I don't just do this with the pushing motion. I did this with Bulgarian split squats, and I also did it with every single other exercise in this video because I want to see how much I can push myself, because some days you just don't have the same sleep factors, stress factors, all that, and you're not able to push as much weight as you want to that you did maybe the week before. So I stick to a structured training split every single week, and I actually hit bench twice a week, squat twice a week, and deadlift twice a week. My other motions will vary, but here what you guys can see is I acclimated up and I was actually able to push more than I thought I would walking into the workout, which ended up to actually be a rep PR for me. So I always acclimate up, always do my push and motion second, and it's always going to be a compound movement to make sure that I can get the most out of my workout and recruit more than just one muscle group. So next we actually worked on a unilateral back movement, still a compound movement. It was supposed to just be a single arm row, but Tyler wanted the athlete in me to be challenged, so he added some stability with kind of doing almost like a bird dog variation on the fat pad, which was honestly, guys, so challenging because I have awful balance, but I was pretty proud of how I was able to do this. And this transition is super hard, but the third motion is always going to be a pulling motion, so generally working your back. And of course, like I told you guys, it's always going to be a compound. As you can see here, I'm engaging my back, I'm engaging my core, using motions that of course are like it says and what it's called, a pulling motion. So the third movement's always going to be something that is a pulling motion. Likely for me, a row, a pull-up, and sometimes negatives, but as you can see, these killed me. So after the pulling motion, we head into another lower body movement. I chose hip thrusts and we just went with 3 sets of 5. Of course, I wanted to work the glutes a little bit more. This is an amazing movement to recruit really your full body, and of course, because this is a full body movement, that is going to be the goal. So those are pretty self-explanatory, but just hit 3 sets of 5 hip thrusts with acclimations up. So for more aesthetics, I'm not going to lie here, I do hit an accessory movement last, and I supersetted lateral raises with bicep curls, and also because for BJJ, biceps are a really big part, as well as like the pulling motion, and I am an athlete who trains jiu-jitsu, and I do care about that kind of stuff. And of course, lateral raises are always good for the shoulder caps, which is a big goal of mine. So I actually just go for volume for the last superset. So I did 2 sets of 20 lateral raises, superset with 2 sets of 20 bicep curls, and I actually thought I was going to die at the end of this. But this is just kind of a good finisher to add some volume in because most of my training is low volume, and this is just a solid way to kill yourself and get a nice little burnout in, which I love right at the end of my workout. And that is all, my friends. Pretty simple, pretty easy. I hope you guys enjoyed the voiceover in this video so that you guys can actually maybe try and create your own training split. I'm always open to looking at people's training splits, so if you actually create one for yourself or even just one workout, go ahead and send it to me. I'll put my email down below and I will take a look at it. You can also just send it to me on Instagram. I'm always willing to give feedback. Also, if you guys aren't on my email list, I always send out free full body workouts, at least like 2 times a month, which can give you a good idea of how to structure one as well. So with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like it, give it a thumbs up, please. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one.